Jane, congratulations on being inducted into the California Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
Much deserved. You obviously had a great career both through high school and college. Who is the individual that had the greatest impact on you in your wrestling career?
A lot of people had an impact on my wrestling career, but I'd have to say the biggest influence was John Azevedo.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of took my wrestling to a different level and helped me kind of open up the scope of what was available to me in wrestling and what I was capable of doing, from small scale to, the ability to possibly wrestle in college and beyond college.
Yeah, and he did a great job. Did you have an idol, wrestling idol growing up? Somebody that you modeled yourself after?
My favorite wrestler, growing up was always John. But if I had to choose someone other than John, because I think that's kind of a cop-out answer maybe, but I would say John used to bring videos for us to watch and stuff, and Dane and I kind of became enamored with Sergey Beloglazov and his ability to wrestle from any position, to pretty much dominate anybody he wrestled. And so I would say Sergey was probably the closest thing I had to, an idol, a wrestling idol growing up.
Yeah, he's a great role model, without a doubt. This is going to be a good question for you. What aspect of your personality do you think contributed the most in your success in wrestling?
That's a tough question. You're right. I think probably my discipline. I think if I would look back at myself and after coaching kids as well now, I think that I had a lot of discipline. And I notice now that I've coached kids that there's a lot of kids who lack discipline, and that's the one thing that keeps them from getting to a higher level. Is I felt like when I made a decision to go a certain weight or to run a certain amount of times, I usually followed that plan and was able to stick to it. And I think that the discipline I had really helped me succeed.
No, I would agree with you. A very committed, very disciplined wrestler. What is the most outstanding memory you have from your career? Could be high school or college.
That's probably one of the hardest questions you could ask me, because there's just so many great memories. The career I had, I can think of, winning a state title was a great.
We're gonna take that again.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, want me to just ask the question again?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
It's all right.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
It's a tough question. I may need a retake on that anyway.
That's okay. You get a redo on that one.
Go ahead.
Okay. This is going to be a tough question for you, Shane, but what was the most outstanding memory you have from your career? Could be in high school, could be in college, could be afterwards.
I have a lot of outstanding memories, a lot of things that I could feel that answer that question with. Winning state championship in high school. I think, standing on the podium as an All-American my freshman year, my first year as an All-American, was quite a great memory. Outside of just the competitive part, I think the most memorable thing I've ever experienced was going to the World Cup in Stillwater, and I'd never experienced the Iranian team and their fans, and I never even knew that they had such a following, and walking into an arena that was sold out with fans going crazy, and just with a complete love of the sport of wrestling and a complete love of just the competition. They cheered both sides of both teams. They didn't care who won. They just were just loving every bit of being there and being a part of the sport of wrestling. And that's one of my most memorable moments in the sport.
Yeah, they have great fans for sure. Can you think of a single match or event that was the most memorable where you were participating in it?
Yes. Again, I had a lot of great matches, but there's one in particular that I'll never forget. For those familiar with the Bedlam match, it's between Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, and it's quite a heated rivalry. And I had quite a rivalry with a kid named Teague Moore, who was a multiple-time All-American and as well as a national champion. And we battled each other quite a bit throughout our careers. And one match in particular, we showed up in Stillwater and we're waiting for the match to start and there's no referee. And so they happened to just pull out a referee right out of the crowd. And he takes off his orange jumpsuit and underneath has a black shirt and black pants and he's ready to ref. And you know, fishy things can go on in Gallagher-Iba Arena. And I had my doubts about the referee. And during that match, what made it so memorable for me was that the fact that the crowd was very hostile. And there was a point where he had done a move to me where I tweaked my knee really bad and I didn't know if I could continue. And I'm laying there. John Smith and Jack Spates are in each other's face, just screaming at each other. I can hear the crowd yelling things at me that aren't very nice. I won't repeat them. And I just wanted so bad to be able to finish the match to prove to this crowd that I could beat Teague Moore. And during the match, I remember one moment where he was on top and he literally fish hooked me, was wrenching my mouth across, and the referee was staring right at him and just like, it's clean, it's fine. And I knew they told me things in Stillwater could get pretty bad, but that pretty much took the cake. And but I still came out on top on that match, and there was no greater feeling I don't think I've ever felt winning a match than knowing that everything was against me. All the odds were against me. I was wrestling a returning national champion, and I beat him in front of his home crowd.
No, that'd be a great memory. And keeping your composure, too. You've never been known to get feisty or be a hothead, right?
No.
Shane, what got you involved in wrestling? I know, Shannon and Mike wrestled a little bit, didn't they?
Mike was a baseball player, my oldest brother. Shannon did wrestle. It's an interesting story how I got started was Kellogg Price was the coach at Bolsa Grande High School, and Kellogg used to just sit at the basketball tryouts and wait for the basketball coach to make his cuts. And my brother Shannon, who was about my height, didn't make the cut and was walking off, and Kellogg Price was rounding them all up like, guys, I got something for you. And my brother wrestled 4 years at Bolsa Grande High School. In his senior year, George Espinoza became an assistant there and saw the spirit with which we watched our brother wrestle and said, there's youth wrestling that they can join. And that was all we needed to really hear.
Yeah, and then, that's amazing. If you had an opportunity to start your career over, is there anything that you'd change?
Yeah, there is. I've thought about this a lot, especially since I've been coaching and I coach. I'm not currently coaching a team right now, but as I was coaching, the one thing I thought about is that I wish I wouldn't take it as serious as I did. Not in the manner that I wouldn't train as hard or anything like that, but I wouldn't put so much pressure on myself to win or lose. I would make it more about the joy of wrestling and the love of wrestling. And I try to look at people who are successful, and I look at like Dave Schultz and his attitude that he carried towards wrestling, where he just had this love for the sport and love for competition. And that's truly what I believe it's all about, and that's what I want to preach to my son and the kids that I coach. That you don't have to put so much pressure on yourself to win and lose. It's about
participating and enjoying the sport.
Exactly, enjoying what you do.
Yeah, I agree. What would you like people to remember about Shane Valdez?
As a wrestler, I'd want them to remember me as a fierce competitor. I'd want them to remember me as a good human being who had a heart for other people and was a strong Christian who wasn't afraid to give the glory to God when I was successful. I'd want them to remember me as a superb technician, because I spent a lot of my time was spent trying to perfect technique that John and Jeff that you guys taught me, and I would like to be remembered for being a technician.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure you will. I don't think anybody will doubt that at all, Shane. Once again, congratulations on being inducted into the California Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Thank you.